It's me. Welcome back to my channel where I like to bring you guys along with me as I navigate my faith, fitness, and financial journeys. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys 5 steps that I take on my weekly financial reset. The last one is definitely optional, so just sprinkle it in there wherever you see fit. But if you're one of those people where you're just like, I don't know where to start when it comes to checking on my finances, it's your relationship that you have to have with your money. You have to spend time with your money. So these particular meetings, they don't take long. In the beginning, they will probably take a little bit longer just because you are newer to doing them. But after you've got your routine down pat, it should only take you anywhere from 30 minutes to about 45 minutes to complete this process. Don't overcomplicate it, but I hope that you stick around because you will not be disappointed. Step number 1 is going to be to plan for your upcoming bills. In order to monitor your money, one, you have to know what's actually coming in, what's actually going out, and what you have in your account. So to do this process, I like to use my Google Calendar. Whenever I have a new bill that comes along, I just go in, I input the date, I input the amount, and then I just put the date out for a few years. If anything changes, you end up canceling a subscription or anything like that, easily just go back in and edit it. So on the screen here, this is what a previous week of mine looked like as far as what I was responsible for paying specifically as bills. I like to call it bill mapping. It just keeps you in the know of what's going on and what type of things are going to be happening with your finances throughout the week. Now, one of the things that I love so much about the Google Calendar is that you can set up the frequency. They have some standard ones like every day on this month, weekly, and then they also have the custom side of things. So for like those biannual, quarterly bills or whatever the case is, you can go in and put those for this particular time every single year. I really love the app for that purpose. If you are not on the technological side and you're just like, I'm just a pen and paper type of girly, then just print you out a calendar that is blank and then go in and list the bill coming out on which particular day. I do say with this particular thing on the back side, I would just write the months out in a list style and then put in any type of bills that you might have on an annual basis, such as car registration, home insurances that might be done on a quarterly basis or on an annual basis. And then just make sure that each month that you reference that backside of the sheet to make sure that none of those are actually due for that particular month, because the last thing that you want is to be surprised by some type of bill that you had being deducted from your account. Step number 2, you are going to assess your spending for the week. As of more recently, since I am about a month and a half into my 75 Hard, the personal finance challenges, I've been tracking my expenses every day. Now, I resorted to going out and purchasing this Save Now, Spend Later. And within this particular budget tracker, it just gives you a week overview. And then you just go down and you write what you spent for the actual day, and then there's a total at the bottom, and then there is a note column down to the side right there. I think that this is super cute. Now, after I've tracked my spending, before I go through and I calculate up my total for the entire week, I will go back and put down what things out of the purchases that I made throughout the week were considered a want. And the reason that I want to know this is because I am in the midst of my debt-free journey, and I think that I need to get an accurate picture of how many things I am buying purely based off of wants and not necessarily needs. So just because they're a want doesn't make them automatically bad, because it's budgeted for. So I do have a personal budget of $180 that I allow myself each and every month. If it fits within the budget, then I said that I'm not going to hassle myself or nitpick about the particular purchase. However, if I ever got to a point where I needed to cut even more expenses, then I kind of have an idea. Like, for example, if out of the $180 that I have for something, if it's like, wow, you could really do without 40 of those dollars, then I would go back in and I would adjust that budget to then be at $140 moving forward, just for stuff like that. But I didn't realize how many things out the week that I actually was purchasing that I considered to be purely a want. So this is an example from the previous week, the same week I showed you in regards to the bills. Excuse my messy handwriting. The different colors, if anybody's wondering, the orange, I had bought some stuff in cash and I had forgot to add it into the totals, and then I had to go back and add that in. But I really do find this to be a great resource for me. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to go out and make any unnecessary purchases. You saw the setup, the blank one, as well as the one that I had already written in. One of the things that I love in general about stuff like this is that you can easily just grab any type of notebook and go in and complete the same exact process. Or you can do this on a sheet of paper. This one says journal, this one says notebook. They both have blank pages. Just make sure that the ones that you grab actually have blank pages. I got these ones because I like the aesthetic. I'm definitely a pen and paper type of girly. That is something that I always resort back to. And I want to have something cute. I want to have something nice to make me want to grab for this. Now, granted, there's the routine part of things that it doesn't matter how cute something is. If you don't intentionally make it a part of your routine, then it doesn't matter what type of budgeting tracker that you have or little fancy cute notebook. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of times I started way back when on a sheet of paper. But in the comments below, let me know what you think thus far about the first two rules. Are these things that you're already doing within your weekly financial reset? Do you do a weekly financial reset? So step number 3 is going to be for you to track any progress that you've made towards your goals. So we're goal-oriented people around here. I know you are, especially if you're watching my video. So with this, you will need a notebook. It could be the same type of notebook that I just showed you before, but what are your goals looking like? And hopefully, on a side note, your goals are broken down into an annual basis and then a quarterly basis, which then translate into a monthly basis, just so that they're digestible. Incorporate small changes, and then over time, it will be a higher possibility that you are then able to master these specific things that you're trying to attain. So with my goals, typically half of them are automated. I don't really have to worry about it. As far as like savings goals, that automatically goes into specific accounts. Even though a lot of stuff is automated, the other half of things I actually have to complete myself. So sometimes it's calling or logging in online and making an extra payment towards my student loan. Sometimes it's transferring money from one account to another account. And then other times, simple as logging into my Robinhood account and purchasing some extra stocks. But with step 3, what is so crucial about this step is that if nobody's tracking the progress, then how do we know that progress is being made? And if progress is not being made, then how do we know that we need to regroup, regather, and then pivot into a new direction? Because what we outline for ourselves is not going to help us reach whatever goals that we set for ourselves now. And I want to give a quick shout out to Organized Money. One of the things that I saw more recently on her channel is she broke down her financial goals into these 5 specific categories. So I do think that that is very genius. Definitely something to look into. Not that you're necessarily going to be working on all of them at once, but at least you have a specific goal in each area. Step 4 is going to be to conduct a money management meeting. And what a money management meeting is just a snapshot of your finances. So I've been doing these meetings for a little over 2 years, I believe, and they've changed over time, and they will continue to change based on my financial situation. But things that are core to what I usually do is I go in, I look at all of my account balances. I write down how much money I have in each of those accounts. I then go in and check on all of my debts. So if I happen to have credit card debt, and then my student loans, and then now of course my car loan, I will go in, I will write those numbers down just so that I'm well aware of what I still owe. Something that's more recent, I go into Credit Karma, I write down what my actual credit score is for TransUnion and Equifax. And then even more recently that I'm going to start doing and incorporating this week and moving forward for my Robinhood investments, I want to go in and actually track how much money I have invested over there every week. Now, to complete this, I have yet another notebook. I know, so many things. Within this one is specifically outlined for meetings, and I had this far before I had the budget tracker over there. One of the things that I will say though is that I do not want everything crammed into one notebook. I do think that tracking your spending and then having your goals in one particular notebook is perfectly fine. But for this, I just prefer to have it on its own. So this is what the inside of the notebook looks like here. And it's very simple. So I had it for a while. I will have it for a while longer just because of how many pages are in here and their front and back. But that is definitely a necessity. Having that mini snapshot really has been life-changing. It lets you know exactly where you're at in regards to your finances, how much money you currently have access to, and then from the investment side of things, what type of gains are being made on a weekly basis, if any at all. Maybe you're losing money in that season. But whatever the case is, it's definitely a necessity. This part will probably take the longest out of all of the other steps, just because you are logging into various accounts and then the action items coming up with those two. But it's a process that I encourage you not to rush. However much time it takes you is however much time it takes you. Give your finances the quality time that they deserve. I feel when you know what's going on with your finances, know how to then navigate your finances a little bit better. You then know how to ask for certain things because you have that particular relationship and you know what it is that you're seeking. Step 5, which is so optional. However, I'd say at least once to twice a month, try to throw that in there, is declutter your finances. Now, in an ideal world, everybody has gone green and everything is coming in digital and you can log in. There are certain things that in particular, I just want to have physical copies for, stuff pertaining to my house. But the last thing that I need is the system crashing and somebody telling me I owe $300,000 on my house, and I'll be like, So behind me here, I don't know if you can see, I have a shredder here. But before I actually had this shredder, there are other options. I will go to either Office Depot, Office Max, Staples. They do have a shredding service there. So a lot of the times they send out coupons in the mail to get a certain percentage off of shredding. Right now, I do think it's like $1 a pound. The other side to that, I do know that banks, at least on a biannual basis, and I have a credit union for one of my banks, but I know that they send out stuff via email letting me know that, hey, we're actually doing like a shred-a-thon, which is an event where you bring all your personal banking documents and they shred it for free for you guys. Because the last thing that you want is all these bills, all these papers cluttering your house. Part of this whole weekly financial reset is to eliminate a certain level of stress. And as we know, if we have clutter all around us, it translates into other areas of our life. And one of the things that I can say is that people sometimes just associate clutter with the physical things that they have in their house, as far as clothes, shoes, furniture, but they never really make that association with their actual finances too, of going through and getting rid of the things that you can get rid of and just having an organizational system for your finances. This is something that I wish I had started like a decade ago when it came to my finances, just having simple steps that I could take that doesn't require anything but my attention and time to complete, to help me get to a better financial situation, that helps me hold myself accountable to the goals that I've set for myself financially. You're capable of it. And for some reason, if it seems like a lot up front, then start your meetings off by go in picking the steps that you think that you need to work on the most, and then just start with those, and then slowly over time incorporate the other steps into your routine. And as I say, your routine may consist of a little bit more because we all have different financial situations. And what I cannot stress is the importance of doing what's best for you and your finances. There's tons of advice out there. There's plenty of people saying a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you have to examine what is being told to you and then see if that actually fits in to your financial situation. But at the end of the day, it only takes you in small progressive steps towards changing your financial future. But you guys, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I hope that it brought some type of value. As usual, take time to enjoy your own journey, and I will catch you guys in the comments into the next video. Bye.